raise that he already received, which is the only raise that I know of, was that it's about 17 cents an hour. But if he's in the budget for $1 something an hour, that's wonderful. That cures that issue.
$1.45, is that, while we're on employees, I had a question the last meeting about, Jay Mazzio. He's getting a $20,000 raise, but I understand he's increasing his time. He went from 2 days a week to, what's he gonna work now, 4 or 5 days a week instead?
So that change happened last November, and we had 2 electrical subcodes. The one resigned, and he was working 3 days, and Mr. Mazzio was working 2. So Mr. Mazzio is here already 5 days a week. So that raise is already in effect, and it comes out of that construction trust.
Okay, that answers that question. You're just giving me softballs here because you brought up the construction trust. And, you know, I know Matt and I went over this a little bit with Candace. We don't fully understand. Most of your employees get paid through the construction trust, if I'm correct. Is that right?
In the past, no, but Candace and I have worked together, and most of them will be paid through the trust, as they should be.
Okay, and so, you know, this is where I didn't understand it fully. They'll be paid through the trust now, and that's, but their salaries still show on the budget, but the monies in the trust does not show as revenues on the budget. That's where I know I got a little confused about it. And, you know, Candace tried to explain it to me, but it's still, I guess, over my head.
So, only 2 employees are under, the current fund budget. The salary sheet that you received, that just for UCC salaries, it's not in the budget because it is through a trust. So it's just let you know what the employees get paid, but it's not in this current fund
Okay,
budget.
so the UCTAF is just information.
Yes.
All right, and in this trust, you know, I saw, you know, so you gave me a lot of softballs today because I had these questions. I see in there that there's a surplus of about 400,000 in it. And, you know, I know from past experiences that you've been asking for more employees. And, you know, obviously in the trust you have that money to fund those employees. And so it would not add to any burden on the town's budget if we hired, I'm thinking 1 or 2 more employees if we have obviously 400,000 in it. And then anytime I'm wrong, you let me know. In turn, that would help your department go out and be able to do more as far as inspections and code stuff, which would in turn bring more money into the trust, making it self-replenishing. Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So my next question is to the mayor is why do you keep refusing to give our more employees when it's a self-sufficient department? You know, they can go out there and better do code enforcement jobs, better do inspection jobs, and they'll pay for themselves. It just, you know, I just don't understand. You know, I know I'm the new guy on the block here, but I've been paying attention for about 3 years now, and you know, I don't understand why that department gets neglected and you're not getting employees in there. Why don't you consider more employees?
There was a request for 2 full-time employees. There's been a lot of turnover and stuff in that department. We seem to lose people there, so I figured it would be easier if we had 2 full-time people, see how they work out. And I'm doing the same thing with some of the other departments, like the police. Instead of hiring a regular police officer, we've been going to class 1 or class 2 and trying to use them as an avenue to get the right people into the positions that we want them in, where they're fully committed to. So, I mean, it's an avenue that I'm trying, and it's with the police. So we were gonna do it with code enforcement. There was a request for 2 people, so we thought we'd bring them in part-time, see how it works out, and then adjust as needed.
And that was last year, right? They were brought in, so now we should be readjusting again if that's working out. You know,
We
there's a
can
need,
hire
if
two.
there's a need and there's funds there, you know, that's, I just think we should do it.
It would seem to me like if we're gonna hire them part-time, we're gonna give them an opportunity to learn the job, we're gonna give them the skills, even if it's at a part-time base, they're gonna be working the job. And the first thing they're gonna do while they're here is they're gonna use Pemberton Township as a stepping stone, which historically, police-wise, has been seen by the borough. You know, the borough had problems for years, they brought in officers, but until they put their salaries up where they were competitive, officers just raked up their years there and then carried them somewhere else. It seems to me like if we're not gonna hire employees with a full-time status and give them something to work towards, why are they gonna waste their time coming here other than to use us as a stepping stone? And especially if you can put them in a position where they can make their own salary, that just sounds like a win.
Bro, you're the department head, you know what's best for your department. What would be best for your department?
Is to have two full-time employees, but again, with those two full-time employees, I did ask for a full-time secretary, because we need somebody in the office, you know, to do secretarial work. Like I said, it all pays for itself. I understand what the mayor's saying, but there's a probationary period, you get 90 days, whether you can make it or break it, and if you don't, then we don't keep them up. So, we do have that protection.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, in today's climate, you know, turnover is everywhere, I don't care what industry you're in, you know, the industry I just came from, they were going through 5 people to get one good one, you know, it's just a fact of life anymore, you know, but you can see the, you know, anytime you can see room in a department where it's gonna be self-sustaining, bringing the money back in, you should, you know, embrace it, you know, that's what I'm saying, and, you know, I tell many of the township residents, time after time, when they have complaints about not getting, you know, things fast enough, I say, they're understaffed, and you get tired of hearing that, you know. So we do need to start building up staff, and we need to consider hiring these people. The money's there, and it's not coming out of taxpayer money. You know, and we're not hitting the taxpayers bill. And again, if I'm wrong, tell me, if we don't use it, we're gonna lose it eventually, correct?
So if we don't use it, the way it works with the construction trust is after 2 years, we can reevaluate fees. So you're not allowed to keep the surplus on the records. You really need to use the money or you're gonna have to reduce fees. And it's a very long process. It confuses all the contractors because they know what the set fees are for the stuff that they come in for. When we change fees, it just really messes everything up and it's a lot of work.
Well, I hope that the mayor will, you know, hear what's going on here and reconsider, I mean, I know, roads department's not the only department that's lacking employees, but, you know, where we can do it and not hurt the township taxpayers, I think we should do it, you know. It's just my opinion. We answered most of my questions in this thing. Thank you for coming in, that's all I got.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Well, if you, let's suppose tomorrow morning, you had 2 full-time employees in that department. Do you have an estimate of how much revenue they will generate for your department a year?
So, you know, if you can get to 5 violations a day, you know, which would be $100 each violation, it's $500 a day, you know, per how many days of work they should have per year. That's what you bring in, because they should be getting to 5 locations every single day.
And I guess you're not able to do that today, right?
No. I actually, I didn't actually have any code officers because the 2 that we have are both out on medical just recently, and 1 is still on medical. So I have like 1 code officer, he's named a full-time code officer because he's only a trainee. So that's what I have enforcing the town right now.
Can I ask you a question, Council? We're changing, we're looking at this department being a revenue generator, not a department that brings people in compliance.
Well, it brings revenue.
No, you didn't answer the question. Right now, we're trying to get people in compliance. You drive down the street and their houses is not within compliance, and we try to bring them within compliance, so it's safe and it meets the aesthetics that we're looking for in township. sounds like from what you're saying, all you care about is the revenue that we're gonna bring in from our residents by fining them. Is that correct?
Well, if you ride through this town, it's a mess, because she doesn't have enough help to do her job. And then I heard through the grapevine, when they build a case, the guy next door throws it out. What is that about? And I heard, I talked to a couple of police officers, they investigate something, they write the tickets, they go to the court, and it's dismissed. So, has anybody heard anything about that?
I mean, we are looking to clean things up, but if there's not enough people out there, they can't cover all the violations in the town. And if it ever got to the point where it was all cleaned up, then I guess we'd have to look at either moving people to another department. But I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. As Mr. Brady said, drive around town, violations are out there, and it's just a matter of you have to have the people to go out there and write it up, and you have to have, take them to the next step. And most people will, I believe will clean up, straighten up their violation, pay their fine without going to the courts. But we do, Mr. Brady said, have a problem with that from what we're being told, and not just from one department, but several.
The only-
We'll address that at a later date, I guess.
The only way we're gonna improve the aesthetics of this town and get it back to where we talked about the good old days, how it used to be, is for people to just have plain old common sense responsibility and just keep your area tidy. It doesn't cost a dime to keep it tidy. It's when you let it get into disarray, it starts to affect your neighbors, that becomes a problem. If you can't clean it up and maintain it, and the township has to come out and ask you to do it, I'm sure on the first time, they're not getting hammered with a fee. And I'm sure when it comes to court, as we've heard, they've been very lenient. If you don't have the time and you don't do it, unfortunately, yes, it's going to cost you. So if you don't want to put the money into your own property to maintain it and keep it up to standards, if you want to look at it as a revenue, then that's how you can look at it. I don't look at it as a revenue, I look at it as a fee. You have a responsibility to your neighbors and to your town to maintain your property, period.
I think in this situation, revenue, fee, one the same, cleaning up the town, better aesthetics, getting people, within code, those things go hand in hand. The money comes with the violations. So it's not, do you want aesthetics, do you want revenue, everything goes hand in hand, it's one and the same. It's one and the same.
Right, the first thing is you have to have the people able to go out there and write, without those people out there to write it. And as she's saying, she's got people out now, and that's another situation that we're gonna have in every department. People are out, either vacations, sick, hurt, and so you have to have extra people to address it. And again, because it's a self-generated, it's not hurting the taxpayer. That's why I can't understand why we haven't increased people in that department. And I'll continue to not understand that until I see improvement there. If you see a place to make improvement and it's at no cost, you should go.
Like, when I first got elected, one of the first things I brought up was it 32 Press Avenue? That's 3 years ago. And if you go by there right now, it's almost the same as it was 3 years ago. And I know he's been in and out of court with a smack on his hand, and every day they're taking motors out of cars, stripping trailers. Everything's in their front lawn. I mean, you have anything to add about Press Avenue? I know these guys getting away with murder.
So, Press Avenue, we're having a hard time locating the owner, and I am working with Joe Macklin right now. We have the matter in Superior Court. The ones that can't get compliance through the court system that are in really bad condition, we are taking it to the next level, and we are taking them to Superior Court. Just touch on what the mayor had said just a little bit ago. I'm not in it for fines, I'm in it for compliance. My staff has been directed, they're not allowed to close out a case until the compliance is there, whether they have to take it to trial or not. So, once it gets to that point, yes, the fines have to come. But we're trying to work with the residents. If they get the notice and they clean it up and, say even a summons is issued in between there, We're not trying to hurt the residents. A lot of times
I
we
think
reduce
this
the fines down to
individual on
nothing.
Press Avenue deserves to be hurt.
Absolutely.
Because he doesn't care.
Yes,
He's been in court
yes.
and he's doing it every day.
He doesn't even own the house.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. We're trying, you know, if we go and take, serious action against the property, with Mrs. Baldwin, who can be located, would be the one who reaps the repercussions of that. So we don't wanna do that. And Joe and I were just talking before the meeting started tonight about it.
I mean, the property right across from that house where the log cabin was, Edie's been trying to sell that since the township made her tear it down. And when they see what's in the backyard, she loses the sale,
That's right.
you know, and that's a big money property, you know, and it's just, that's the example, and we're not saying that your department's not doing its job, it's just that you need more people to do the job.
I don't know if anyone's familiar with 300 Ridge, that was just as bad. And now the property's finally in compliance after probably 10 years. So it can get done, it's just that some people, we have to take them into Superior Court, we have to take it to the next level. It shouldn't happen, but we have to.
For aggregation, can you put liens against Press Avenue property?
So the liens are already there, we would like to tag and tow, and the only way we can do the tag and tow to go into somebody's property is to go through Superior Court where a judge orders it.
Or totally bodies. I was wondering where you were going with this. I was like, ah,
Well, you gotta think of too, when this stuff goes to Superior Court, that takes those people out of town probably for a day to testify. So now you've got nobody out there doing the job that needs to be done.
No, not for Bruno, but a couple for the mayor. Did you find any more out from Jay about the cell tower situation? I know you were working on it.
He wasn't in today, but he did say it's gonna take a little bit of time to research.
Okay, well, we are working on it, just put this full effort at it.
This gentleman retired from Marine, there is nothing but for that.
Okay. I don't know, I mean, I'm guessing I'm gonna be a little bit of a wise ass, but, you know, my mind is kinda like a unicorn. It's often talked about, but never seen. You know, I mean, I come here a lot of Tuesdays, that's supposed to be his day to be here. I think on one occasion, I seen him, he was leaving right back at 11:30. So, you know, they do have him contracted for 16 hours a week.
And I know he wasn't here today, but he did call me this afternoon at lunch and had a conversation about a different matter on the telephone today. Even though he's not here, he was talking to me today about covering the township business. So what you're saying is really misleading.
I don't think it is. I don't know how his contract reads for sure, if he's physically supposed to be here or not, but I know, I was told many times he's here every Tuesday, but I came here a lot of Tuesdays just to see. And I only saw him once out of maybe 6 or 7, and he was on his way out to lunch. So, that's just what I'm saying. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Mr. President, if I could, Ro, while we have you under the spotlight, how's the housing authority stuff going? The monies?
Excellent. Excellent. So, the resales and rentals, we brought in $103,000, last year. And the abandoned properties, we brought in $188,000, which is the most money that the township's ever seen.
What I was talking about was the money for our residents out of the fund that we have now, the 1.3 million that you're working on.
So we are aggressively moving forward. We have the housing element on for the planning board meeting on the 9th. So once that happens and Jerry has to file the paperwork within 48 hours, we're done. And we can start rolling out the program. We have the applications done, we have the manual done, everything is done.
Everything has to be done by the end of this month.
That's right. Everything is done. We're just waiting just for the paperwork to get where it has to go, and then we will be taking in applications.
So the work's getting done.
Everything.
So is it safe to assume then that you've received your stipend now for that work?
No, Tricia and I have not, but we're not gonna let the residents down, we're gonna continue on doing what we have to do to get the program on board.
How many meetings ago was that approved? March? So while you're here, sir, is there any, can you give us an explanation of why they haven't been sent out?
That is current litigation, I won't discuss it.
What litigation is that?
I'm not aware of it.
I believe that's part of the last lawsuit.
Speak into the mic.
I'm sorry.
I believe that's part of the last lawsuit.
I don't know the lawsuit. You mean about the lawsuit that Mr. Larry started? What lawsuit do you mean?
I'm not gonna discuss that here, we can go into executive.
Well,
Why hasn't Ms. Flaherty received her stipend? That's not part of the lawsuit.
The stipend portion of this is part of the lawsuit, so I'm not gonna discuss it. Or pending lawsuits.
Every day is a pending.
So to be clear, that's the answer you're gonna have behind here? We approved money to be paid to these people for the job they're doing, and it's being held up, we're understanding, I'm assuming, by your office.
Councilman Perry, I'm not discussing. You can keep asking me the same question 4 different ways. I'm not discussing.
Understood.
What else was on that, order we requested him to be here for? Was that question right? There were 2 questions on. The water and sewer bills, and get any updates on those, water and sewer bills, or they, you know, I know you said that there.
We discussed that.
Yeah, you and I discussed it, you said they were.
They fixed those bills, and they fixed the 1 meter, and they're waiting for the reading in time.
And
That building?
and if we give the water and sewer department a list of properties, they can show us where they fixed them and 6 months back worth of correct bills, possibly, if we ask for them. I mean, I'm guessing I'm gonna have to have Joe.
Councilman, you can send me that request and I'll have them do that.
We'll put together a list of all those properties and because, as I said the other night, if it's revenues that the township is owing, then we should be getting them. I mean, I hate to go out and say anything about rumors, but, you know, we discussed some of these properties months and months ago. And, Mr. Dewey might know a little more than I do about it, but, you know, we've been told that they're still getting charged residential rates, and that's, you know, not what the, you know, why should a big business be paying residential rates, you know, instead of commercial rates? You know, I don't understand that.
But you're giving me residential, commercial, but you're not giving me any addresses or anything like that. And it's all rumors, so, I mean, that's irresponsible of you, in my opinion.
They're paying $84 a quarter for water from, Pemberton Borough, to Pemberton, Wawa and Pemberton. So they have 2 bathrooms that are used all the time. They have a full kitchen they're using the water. We're having sprinklers going in the summertime, making all the coffee we do. And every quarter,
Harper and I did talk about that. There was a broken water meter there, it was broken for 1 billing cycle, and they've gone in and repaired and replaced that meter. And they're waiting to go in on the regular meter reading schedule, which is, I guess, any day, that's probably happening. And we'll see what happens. But to say it was for months and months and months, I don't believe that. I do know that it did happen for 1 year.
years, not months.
Give me the list and we'll do the research and get back with you.
Well, start with the Wawa, that one's a big one.
Sir, give me a list.
Okay.
You can make sure 200 South Pemberton's on there as well.
Yeah,
I bet you there's $300,000 out there on the street that were owed. And that's being conservative.
questions until we find out what the rest of that resolution was.
Well, let's finish new business, purchase order 3,000, let's bring them on to resolutions. Purchase order 3,000, B1 Fire Department, Township, and Morning Drive, PPE, PPE from MES, totaling up to $18,450.
Council President, I don't know if you can approve that now. I think you're gonna have to have until resolution 183 is approved. That's a resolution authorizing the fire department to accept that Haynes Family Foundation grant for $20,000, and that's what they're gonna use to pay for this.
Yeah, we know. Any stuff else?
Yeah, I mean,
Jonathan, can you put your mic on?
I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
I know, just what the mayor was saying, that was a grant, that was given to the fire department especially for that. We discussed it on Monday night, the fire chief, used, that money and cut some money off his fire budget to help out, this year's budget.
You can consider adopting the resolution subject to, you could adopt that purchase subject to the resolution being adopted.
Wait for me to discuss this.
Alright, so, we have a motion on that.
Okay, while you were on there and you were.
Motion on what?
We read new business, A1 to approve that, and,
Resolution of.
Yeah. So let's get, so we're reading that as conditional.
you're up.
Second.
Mr. Marker?
Yes.
Mr. Dooley?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Dooley?
Yes.
Mr. Dooley?
Yes. New business A2, Public Works, flash cams, portable crime deterrent / enforcement, dumping / fee from Two-Star Technology LLC in a total amount of $16,995.
Just so everybody in the public knows, these are, special cameras that go out and put in different sites where illegal dumping's going on and try to capture illegal, people dumping illegal and stuff. So there's a packet on it, the information, they look like they're pretty good, things. I make a motion to approve new business A2.
Well, I got a question.
Go ahead.
How can we spend money without budget?
Well, you have the questions, maybe a temporary budget.
This, and this is coming out of the, Clean Community Grant.
Doesn't matter where it's coming from.
It's not part of the budget.
But, I mean, we have no budget, we spend money.
Council President, interject for a second. Harry, where are we looking to put these cameras at?
I haven't been told any sites, they're movable, they can, if they're detecting any problems with, illegal dumping, they put them there.
So does Public Works have like an identifiable area where we're seeing?
I know Ms. Phillips gives them areas about every other meeting, and stuff. I'm sure they're probably gonna start in some of those areas where she's proposed.
Yeah, so, and we're looking at two of them, are we, I mean, is Public Works going to continue this program to purchase more? And then, in the future, and then, hopefully cover the entire township, or what's it look like?
That I was not made aware of, I mean,
The only reason why I asked,
I saw they're portable, they're in my mind, an upgraded version of trail cameras that can be mounted anywhere, telephone poles, trees, you know.
Good. I mean, it's not, I'm saying it's a very good start to an issue that we've had for, you know, forever in the township. I just, you know, if we're starting to initiate it, you know, maybe Tom can send out an email to, or somebody can send out an email to, you know, council or, you know, the township in general and say, hey, you know, we're gonna start here and move around here and here and everywhere. And, you know, they're portable, that's great, but, you know, if somebody's dumping, you know, Mr. Costa over there, right? I mean, you know, I went out last year and, you know, I picked up. what
A
was it,
freezer.
Alex?
Freezer and all the
myself,
goodies that
right?
went with it.
Right, because nobody else would do it, right? So like, if we put one there, and then if we don't put one there, you know, and then Alex and his family's out, and then we gotta move things around, and then, you know, maybe you got Birmingham pit over by, you know, Birmingham, the residents, the, you know, illegal dumping that happens to happen over there a lot, unless it's slowed down, I don't know. Chatsworth pit, well, Mount Misery pit, that sort of thing, and then PL pit. You know, if we put out two, and we cover one part of town, and then, you know, I just don't wanna neglect the rest of the township. If we're moving forward with it, making a program would be nice.
Council,
Sort of like the speed bumps.
the clean community provider, approaching on this, they have money that they get from the state for doing this clean community cleanups and stuff like that. And they're allowed to utilize the money in different ways, other than the grants that they give to the participants in the cleanups. So they are looking at ways to put things in to stop people from littering and do things. So one of the things that she found and one of the things that we can buy are these cameras. We don't know how they're gonna work, we don't know if they're gonna be a great success, or something that is kind of orderable. So she wanted to order two of these to see how they work out. And I gave her approval to order two of them. Along with that, she found that, there's no littering signs available in this grocery list that she had ordered from. So I believe she ordered some of those so that we could put them at some of these locations that some of the residents would like us to put no littering signs there. And I'm hoping we'll put these, mirror them together so that they work together, so if we do get somebody littering in front of these signs, we have a leg to stand on when we go press charges.
Perfect. That sounds great, Mr. Mayor. So let me ask you a follow-up question. You led into that. So clean communities, and we're talking about sustainable NJ program, I'm sure, and that whole program. How are we looking at getting certified on that this year?
What do you, I don't understand.
Well, do we have our bronze certification back?
Couldn't tell.
Couldn't tell me? I can tell you, no, we don't, all right, because I pushed for it last year, and Mr. Hornicle just kind of decided to throw wrenches in gears and not get us approved, with the help of Mr. Lapp, but the environmental commission was the best one there. So what I would recommend doing is, you know, if we go forward with these cameras, right? We're missing the boat in regards to sustainable energy program. And it's low hanging fruit. I've been asking for it for about 2 years now, to get back to the bronze level and even get to the silver level, and get the environmental commission involved, and get Ms. Flaherty's department involved, and get us recertified. So we're missing the boat on an extraordinary amount of grant money in regards to that program completely. So that brings up a great point. I won't beat a dead horse, but hopefully we get back into the sustainable energy program. That's all.
If I may, Mr. President, I think, Butch, you can back me up on this. These new game cameras they have today are the same size as the originals. They have the antenna over, motion detectors, so probably every 2 weeks you have to change the battery, depending on how busy it is. It's got a part in there. But with the motion detector, it'll go off, and somebody at the township can have it set up with their phone, and they can see it live. You can probably get the tag number, ID of the person, but they're like $69 a piece.
Yeah, well, this is a lot more involved than that. It's, it has solar backup. Well, it's,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the information was in the packet, but, there's solar backup. They do have the ability to send photos and stuff to the police station or whoever they wanna do it, and tag number,
But $17,000 for 2 cameras?
it's a lot more than 2 cameras, you know, we had the whole packet.
Spend it. Approve it.
Motion.
I make a motion, we approve new business A2.
Well, I'll second it, Alex, I hope you get one of your street.
Would be nice.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Noel?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Sure.
Mr. Mayhew? Yes.
One more thing from there. That, you meet with private developers, if the developers submit an application to the zoning board and or planning board, you have private meetings with them? Is that accurate?
Can you speak into the mic a
There
little more?
was a meeting with the developer, I was unaware that they had an application in. They did submit an application when I was on vacation, it was emailed to me. On the application that I received, in my email, it didn't have block or lock, it had the developer name, that was it. I looked at it, I thought this is something I can get into when I get back home from vacation, then didn't get into it. As soon as I got back, this developer reached out to us. I knew who it was, I haven't heard from him in 2 years. I was surprised that they called and I was happy, figuring they got things back on track. I wanted to know where they needed to go from there and have some discussion on other things. During that meeting is when I found out that they did have an application in. And I have gotten an email recently saying that that application is gonna be withdrawn and, won't be in existence after, I think, tomorrow.
No, I have no questions. If that application is gonna be withdrawn, I guess there's no, issues at all. I mean, but if it continues to go forward, I'm guessing you wanna abstain from voting on the planning board.
I've already contacted somebody to sit in my seat, and I'll withdraw myself from the board for that application. And I have somebody that's fully qualified to sit in my place for that application.
So, was that an isolated incident, or has that happened before?
It was isolated as far as I know.
You've never met privately with developers to discuss an application of this form?
I got a question for, Terry there on that.
And Council President, I'm sorry, Council President, there was a community development person in that room when we were having a conversation, so it wasn't a problem, so.
Hey, Jerry, Mike, when the mayor said he's gonna appoint somebody else to sit in his seat, is that kosher? I mean,
Yes,
I mean, we have, what's the term for the actor in planning that people get? Alternates. Shouldn't just an alternate take that spot and not the mayor appoint somebody? There's 2 alternates on the planning board too, and I believe 2 alternates on the zoning board. And that's what they're there for, to take the spots when people can't fill in, you know what I'm saying?
The miscellaneous law has 4 different classes. The mayor's, or the mayor is, that's class 1.
Okay.
The statute says it's the mayor or his designee. So the mayor has the absolute right to appoint anybody he wants, he not be.
Okay. Okay, I just was wondering why we had
It's for somebody who lives in town, that's it.
Yeah, just wondering why we had alternates and why they just didn't, because if somebody else on the board is out, then an alternate takes that person's place. All right, thank you.
I would personally like to thank him for screwing the deal on, because we certainly did need 2-story, 3-story townhouses. Thank you.
Would you like me to explain generally what that redevelopment plan is all about, just so we're aware of it?
Sure.
I think 3 years ago, and Rose will tell me where I go to Pemberton, there was an agreement reached with someone to, we would would sell, to him acreage, and he would construct, I think, 87 townhouses. And exchange,
96.
I'm sorry, 96, it's a lot of houses. In exchange for which we would receive, recreational equipment put on, a lot that we own, recreation. Now this is like 3 years ago, the value of those, that recreational, fair market value is $45,000. So, the agreement provided that for $45,000, we would leave this property to the developer to build 90-ish townhomes. We have a lot of issues about it. So that's now going to be looked at very closely. That apparently was 3 years ago.
Another big deal.
Gary, if I can clarify, I could be wrong, but the 96 houses was going on a lot, they're buying it, I believe. There's 4 buildable lots that the township owns, that they're gonna build houses on. And the agreement was that the township would sell those lots to them, that they put a park where we have a park before, or playground.
Well, I'll have to look at it again, Mayor. That's not the way I remember it, but you could be right. I didn't prepare the agreement as 3 years ago, but I'm not too sure about that. I do recall about 90 townhouses that were built there. But, but either way, whatever we're giving up theoretically, before building the lots, whatever it is, we're getting $45,000 worth of recreation. But we're working on that one too.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry, we appreciate you guys doing that. 45, I mean, you get that much just for selling 4 building lots, yeah, 1 building lot if they're water and sewer. I don't understand the deals we made in the past, but hopefully we'll straighten that one out, so.
Resolutions, any appetite to consent agenda, then we pull something out faster? There's a couple that we need to discuss.
Council President, 185, I think we need to discuss. Well, I really like to have a little discussion on, 180 and 181. And that's going to say it's funded.
Anything else, Josh? Eric? So, consent agenda, consent agenda excluding 180, 181, 185, 186.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
I'm a yes with an abstention for number 183, if you would, Amy, please. Thank you.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Bean?
Yes. So 180, 2025, authorizing a sidebar agreement between the Township of Pemberton and Government Workers Union Local 2120 for compressed workers.
I mean, it's something that Danny and I have discussed even before I was a councilman. I'm all in favor of, township people getting a little extra time off, but I thought maybe, and I see they do it in one department, they stagger the people and maybe even have half the department have off Friday through Sunday and the other half have off. Right, and that way the township building is open 5 days a week, just limited staffing on Mondays and Fridays.
Additional hours to have today.
Well, if it is, no, they're still getting still going.
No, because of the staggered hours, you'd have 10-hour
Oh,
days
yeah,
instead of
the
8-hour
building's
days
gonna
for
be
the
open.
residents.
Sure, yeah, the building's gonna be open longer, yeah. So I think the residents, get the advantage of having the building open 5 days a week for a little longer hours, and employees still get to have off 3 days a week. I mean, if the, workers are, up for that, I'd like to see that adjustment made. I don't know who we have to talk to about that adjustment.
Yeah, we would have to start this all over, part of the sidewalk says what days they're gonna be working, so.
Right.
And the other thing is, if we're closed on that Friday, we're not paying for air conditioning, we're not paying for.
I know you don't shut the air conditioning off.
It does get shut off, it shuts off on the weekend. Or it gets turned down, I don't know, but I'm on in here on the weekends, and it's hot, it's real, or it's cold during the summer. Or winter time.
This building is here to serve these lovely people here. And when the building's closed and somebody has a major water leak or something like that, we're here to serve taxpayers. And I don't understand why they have to have, I don't have a problem with the employees, but it has to be staggered, so there's people here when everybody else is out. You can't just shut down the municipal building and have nobody here.
This was proposed to me my first year here. And we talked about it and we tried.
I don't remember talking about it.
I'm sorry?
I said, I don't remember talking about it.
I know it was approved last year.
It's been approved every year I've been mayor. And it's gone through council too, so if you weren't aware of it, you were probably asleep.
Yeah, right.
But-
Well, you can have a problem with it this year, buddy.
Not me, I come in on Fridays anyway, usually, so.
Yeah, I know, you work 8 hours a day.
I do.
Sorry. I don't hear every day.
Well, when was this due to start if we approved it tonight?
It would start when the school's out.
Okay,
This is
so,
primary for, I mean, one of the things they discussed is, helps the people, the employees that have kids and stuff.
right,
With childcare, there's a lot of benefits for our employees where they really like this. So they approached me again this year and they asked me if we could do it. I asked if there was any objections and I didn't have too many people that were opposed to it. So we ran it through the labor attorney, we ran it through the labor attorney and through the unions, and it's equal now. So if you deny it tonight, we'll be open 5 hours or 5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
We wanna work with you, but you can't close the building down with nobody here.
Then
It's
we'll
gotta
have
be
to start-
alternated.
We'll have to start the whole process and maybe we'll enact it in July.
Well, maybe for the employee's sake, we can expedite it.
you're,
I have to run it through the union and the labor attorney. I don't have any control over those departments.
well, if I'm not mistaken, we'll have one more meeting before school closes, so if it's adjusted and it's amenable to them, we can approve it at the next meeting. So, with that, I make a motion that we table this until administration goes back and sees if the employees are interested in doing it, or half work, on Fridays and half work on Mondays. That's the same thing, just a different union. Right, table close to 180 and 181 and see if they're amenable to doing that. I don't think we're gonna save much as far as air conditioning goes, because whether you're running it, 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, it's not gonna be much different. That's my recommendation.
Councilman Harper, can I chime in real quick?
Oh, sure.
So, what I can say is I've been here for the same length of time as the mayor and Danny have been here. The first year this came up, I raised concerns when I was on council. I came and talked to the folks in the administrative office here, and they seem to like the idea. Last year it went through again, I raised the same concerns but less. So they have been doing it for 2 years. That's just my 2 cents, it's nothing new. I questioned it again when me and Danny were our first year. And I said, hey, matter of fact, I think I said something to the effect of, hey, you know, working a 10-hour day is really tough. I do 12-hour days, right, 6 days a week. And the answer I got was, oh, everybody's okay with it, Josh, everybody wants to do this, and it affords more time on the weekends with family and whatnot. But I do understand your concerns, I'm not dismissing, I just want to share that information with you, so.
Well, I mean, I think this would accomplish the same thing, Josh, if it's staggered them, the residents would still be able to get into the township building more hours of the week, and all the employees would still get 3-day weekends, just staggered.
Right. My recommendation to council would be then, I wouldn't table it, if that's the case, I would just say, hey, you know, cancel it and tell the mayor, hey, go back and figure this out real quick. I don't know if table it would be a good idea, we continue just the way it is, but I don't know, just my opinion.
Josh, another thing, you gotta remember, when we first got on here, anytime it was to waste money or do something stupid, we always lost 3-2.
I know, I would agree.
You know, I mean, we were always no for stupid stuff, but we were always outvoted with the other side. And we're here to serve the taxpayers, and you can't serve them at the building's closed. Because it's totally stupid, you know? And I want the people that have time off, but it's gotta be split. And not close the building.
I have to chime in there.
As an employee here, I am here 8 hours a day, and I'm gonna call out Candace as well. I understand Mr. Dewey's comments, however, when you have a small staff, such as the administrative office, it's just me, it's me, Sunshine, and then there's the administration staff, which is 2. So if 2 of us are gone for a 10-hour day, it makes it tough. Because you have lunch times where only 1 person is there. Candace is basically, her office only has 3 employees, so, right now she's down to 2, so you're talking about 1 person being there for a 10-hour day with nobody else there. We have noticed, and I can only speak specifically for my office, and Rob has a lot more people in her office, however, it also gets difficult when you have things staggered, because who's in on what day? One employee needs to answer the question when they're out, and they're gonna be on Monday, they're gonna be on Friday. Having like 1 day off during the week, you're getting your doctor's appointments done. And other things, and it's just, I understand your point, Mr. Dewey. I will say that for things like water emergencies, they have them having 24/7, and there is a mechanism in place to handle that. As far as being here for the residents, we are here for during the summertime, this has come up, and we haven't had any problems with it. We have a drop box out front, we have electronic pay systems now, but I will say for my office, front office, and I don't know about any of the smaller offices, but I would say having it split up where there's 1 person in the office for 10 hours a day, that would be difficult. That would be more strict, I would.
You actually, Amy, when I was gonna step up, you actually beat me to the question I was gonna ask on your behalf, and I was also gonna ask the other 2 department heads that we have here. Every office is different size, with different numbers of employees in it, and I was gonna put you guys on the spot and ask you, how would your offices function personally, just the 2 of you, and I was gonna ask you as well, with a staggered skeleton crew on a Monday or a Friday? If it was still doable, where the employees that were staggered wouldn't be overburdened, as Amy's saying, it would be in the front office with just 2 of them there, trying to figure out lunch times and things like that. How would your offices work with a staggered crew? With maybe basically 50% crew on Monday, and then again 50% crew on Friday, only being full force Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
So, for community development, we're so short-staffed now that we're always working like that. I see the point about the 10-hour workday. It's a long day. I see what happens to the employees. They're very tired. I do like the idea of a staggered day. You could even float around the idea of maybe 1 late night that everybody works and you get half a day on Friday. There's a lot of ways it could be worked out. It wouldn't make a difference in my office. We would split the crew. Some people would be off on Monday and some people would all be off on Friday.
Yeah, but there's no benefits getting creative with the restaurant.
No,
It's gonna be a one-size-fits-all type of thing, because there are different sizes of parking. To me, quite frankly, and, you know, I'm a big supporter of it. I think the 4 and 3, Monday through Thursday, Friday through Sunday off, given our structure here, I think it's effective and it works, but that's my opinion.
Anybody else want to kick this around anymore?
No, I mean, I think if it's not gonna happen till after school anyway, if we table it, it gives administration a chance to ask all the workers, and if they come back and say they'd rather have just all on Fridays, then we'll continue with it at the next meeting and approve it.
I do
I agree
believe
with Karen.
that the resolution says that it would start the 16th, so that Friday. So specifically for my department, there's 2 of us who perform very different, job duties. Hopefully we'll go to hire a third person, which means we'll be, you know, I'll be training. Having a staggering day would be difficult. For instance, the other employee was out today, and I spent most of the day answering, the questions that he would normally be answering. There are questions that he will get that he won't be able to answer for me. That's my specific department. Both of us also have young children, so, alerting our daycares, you know, what days our children are gonna be there, I think that would be really short notice. That's my concern. And if you did staggering, I would feel bad to say, you know, I'm taking Fridays because I already told my daycare that versus, you know, we have Mondays. That's just my outlook. I'm also not a customer facing office though. So, you just take that into consideration.
Guys, I completely respect where you're coming from, I really do. But as far as being a prior employee here, there's things we talked about before that sometimes always money isn't everything. Sometimes the benefits that we can provide go a lot further than the financial gain of an extra 50 cents an hour or something like that. As a previous employee here, I would see this as a benefit. I remember 2 years ago when Mr. Hornicle was still here, the detective division was fighting very hard for this, and they were told no. That was a big kick in the groin for them, because it was something that was going to benefit all of their families as well, and they were told no back then. But now if we have an opportunity to do it, I hope we're doing it across the board, and I want to be clear about that.
Yes.
For the police department, I talked to one of the detectives today with the PDA. They went through our labor attorney, their people, and they did get approval. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the resolution ready in time. So that will be on the next council meeting if it's approved tonight. If it's not,
That makes me happy, thank you.
Well, let's just be clear. All emergency services, whether it be a water emergency, sewer emergency, obviously, public safety emergency, those services are still available 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's critical. So it would just really be the administrative services.
Correct, and it's, I'll be honest and say, we've never really had, for the about two and a half months since it's implemented, we've never had complaints from the residents.
Sorry.
It is nice for some of the residents that they can come in afterwards, like to do other work, they can come in, we're here until 5:30, and we had people come in the morning, and it's inconvenient for them. I do understand what Mr. Dewey is saying, but the residents do this.
So-
I was going
4
to-
days or 5 days.
I was going to say the same thing, they have the before and after, which is sometimes useful for residents, and then I believe, tax office, during any kind of billing, they adjust their schedules to stagger and be open 5 days.
I believe last year recreation also accommodated because they had some events and stuff on Saturdays, so it was necessary for them to be on Fridays. The individual departments, did what they need to do to make sure that everything was served. The main office is where a lot of people come, we get a lot of phone calls and stuff, but even if we have marriage applications, we make sure that those are accommodated so people get what they need. What would you do on Fridays?
So, Council President, can I make a recommendation?
Go right ahead.
Or or actually, I'm gonna do this, right? I'll go out on a limb, for 181, 180 and 181, because they're both the same, right? It's just different units. I understand where everybody else is coming from, but, you know, I'll put a motion to council right now, and I'll say, you know, I'll make a motion to approve 180, 2025, and 181, 2025.
I'll second.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
No.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Yankee?
Yes.
Was that for both resolutions?
Next resolution to discuss 185-2025 authorizes change order number 1 for GMH Associates for secondary clarifier tank rehabilitation for the sewer division through the North Jersey Wastewater Cooperative Purchasing System for additional repairs in the amount of $66,617.55.
I just wanted to discuss this a little bit, and I talked to Tom Norton. When they initially did this bid on this tank, it was not drained, so they could not see what was going on, and they weren't allowed by DEP regulations to drain it. And, they didn't think that there was that much, more damage down there that needed this much repair. That's why the contractor didn't anticipate this. You guys all had the same paperwork that I had, shows some pictures of the I-beams and all that are totally rotted out and stuff. And it's the lesser of the two evils is what I was told, to do a total repair is $250,000. But the contractor thought this repair would last over a year. That's what they say, but none of us will be here, so.
Speak for yourself.
Was ERI the only one that did some feedback with a bid on this?
No, this was, GMH, which got this.
GMH, sorry, GMH, is GMH the only one, I mean, who was?
Well, because of the timing, because they're already into the job, Josh, and it built in penalties if they're held up. So they didn't get a price from anybody else because of the timing. I know, I see you down there shaking your head, I shook my head last week when I got this information.
It's just the additional repairs they found during.
Right, yeah, once they got down, they hit the sandblast off the coating and stuff, and once they, realized what was there, it was more severe than they thought, you know, they might have to do a little patching here and there, but they replace total wide beams and stuff like that. And for the timing, you know, if you go out and get a bid and stuff, then you're gonna be paying, GMH damages for holding them up. Then if you do, then you don't.
Is this the same tank, do you know? It looks like it.
These are the two secondary tanks.
The secondary
that
tanks,
were
they
ordered
said,
last year.
yeah, they said the bearings were all burned up and everything else, and they were gonna get it all fixed, and that was gonna be the last of it, like, that was, it would never exceed that amount. That's what was told us, right? It would it's never gonna exceed that amount.
It's like, when you have an administration, prior administration, no good BA, why did we even take over the MUS? It was wore out when they took it over, and I'd like to see how much money we've made the last 3 years with the MUA and all the repairs. The infrastructure shocked us. But you had to have it.
And I believe the last time I heard, we were somewhere around 70% capacity, right, with what we have in service anyway right now?
It's a money thing.
We have a motion for the discussion.
You gotta have it. Stupid, they wasted money.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve 2025 positions.
Second?
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yep.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Beatty?
Yes. On to ordinances. Ordinances for second reading, public hearing, and or adoption. Ordinance number 11-2025.
Do we approve any of the six? I'm sorry, stop.
That was part of the
Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
No worries. Ordinance number 11-2025. 2025 cap ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 48A:4-25.14. Public comments on this ordinance.
Come on down.
Okay, whose idea was this to do this?
The cap ordinance? Are you talking about the ordinance establishing the cap bank?
Yeah. Who wants this?
Well,
To make it more than what it is
Our-
typically, right?
Mr. President, if you don't mind, I think our council first.
Yes, what do you
Talk
thought?
and answer this.
Yeah, so this is something that's typically standard for municipalities to adopt, so I'm kind of required to put it in front of council on an annual basis.
So you have to do this? You
Yeah,
have to raise the cap?
yes, it doesn't cost you any money though to raise that.
You have no other choice?
I mean, I could get in trouble, so no, I don't. They don't have to approve it, they don't have to adopt it, I have to put it in front of them.
Oh, okay. What's the benefit of them adopting this tonight?
It's a budgeting tool, so in the future, if we needed to raise appropriations above 2.5%, it would allow us to do that back. Does not require them to, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to, it just allows them to, and it puts us in a safer place for future budgeting purposes.
It's a safety net in the event that for some catastrophic reason, we have to spend more than what the budget would allow us to spend. Can you explain that better? Because I think the cap bank, what happens in terms of,
Give an example of what
Can
we
you-
use it for.
Can you just say that one more time real quick, what you just said before we go on?
I don't know.
I'm trying to understand what you just said. For catastrophic reasons. Can I ask you something before you go on to ask other people stuff? So you can only use it for catastrophes, or can you use it for any old thing?
Well, no, you can't use it for anything. We're presumably going to have a budget. If for some reason it is unanticipated that we have to exceed the budget, that's what this allows for a certain period, a certain amount. Although, can you explain the cap bank, because I can't do that.
What I'm trying to get at is, you definitely only can use this extra money for an emergency. That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, you can use it in future budgets if needed.
Or,
So it's still
he
valid.
said, no, you can't use it on anything, but you're saying, yes, we can use it on
No,
anything.
no, I
You
see.
can't just use it throughout the year, they would have to adopt a budget allowing the use of the cap bank. in
So if they
future
do
years.
that, if they say yes to it tonight, if they do that, they can take this extra money and spend it on anything?
It's not actual money. So basically,
Okay,
this,
okay, I'll just listen. I'll be quiet for a minute.
the, state allows you to raise your appropriations by 2.5% standard every year. By doing a cap bank, you can raise it an additional 1%. And whatever you don't use within that appropriation percentage gets to be reserved. It's just an amount, that you're allotted, but it's not physical money. And that allows that in the future, if we had to budget higher than the 2.5% percent for appropriations, we would have that money in that bank to use, and we would be able to successfully adopt the budget. Where this becomes a concern is we have statutory budget requirements that we have to meet. That's, debt, social security, contractual obligations, we have pension, we have health insurance. If they were to increase more than, more than the 2.5% and take up our allotted 2.5% appropriation, we would not be able to provide certain services, because the statutory requirements allow us to. So basically, it's a budgeting tool in case something happens in the future.
So, in other words, if, for instance, we were to get an increase in our joint insurance fund from all these lawsuits, we could use this money for that, right? We could use this increase for
Allocated
that, I'll say.
appropriation if we
Yeah.
needed to, we could.
Don't smell it.
What?
Don't smell it.
Sure.
It's smelling so bad right now, but it's talking about, it's my head.
Anybody else for public comment? We have a motion?
I'll make a motion to deny ordinance 11/2025.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Dewey?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes,
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Bailey?
No. Ordinances for introduction. Ordinance number 12/2025, an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton, County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, accepting conveyance of a vacant property located at block 364, lot 30, Pemberton Township, New Jersey. Ordinance number 13/2025, an ordinance.
I have a question here. Well, throw you a curveball here maybe now. Do you happen to know where this blocking lot is for this, does anybody happen to know where this lot is?
No, I
This is one
don't.
being donated, right? This is up on North Pemberton Road and Perry, what's the road going out to the range? Over by the bridge.
Pepper Road.
Where are you talking about?
Pepper Road.
Huh?
Pepper Road.
No, that's, you said North Pemberton?
North Pemberton and then.
On the west side of town?
Yeah, going out to the range.
That's the range, Fortex Road?
Yeah.
Fortex Road.
No, it's but it's up in that area where you go up, you go around the lake, you go up South Lake Shore and then over the bridge.
You go West Lake. Pepper, you're talking about all the way back by Pepper Road?
Yeah.
That's nowhere near North Pemberton, you're on the opposite side of town.
Says it's petrol ad.
Petrol?
Yes.
So here's, it's up in there, it's all highland. All the property around it, with the exception of one, is either owned by the township or has named by the township around on it. So it looks like if it were to be subdivided, it could possibly be two developer lots in that area.
Okay.
What's the zone?
I honestly didn't say residential, but I did not.
Is it being donated to us because they're behind on taxes? or
No,
you just-
they're paid up, I think the owner just passed away and the person inheriting it was.
Family, just 4 or 5 children now, we just inherited, we stuff with the mother, and they just, oh my God.
Okay. All right, well, I hope we do the right thing with this. I guess I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 12/2025. Or introduce, and when would be for the next meeting?
Yeah.
I'll second.
For 6/18, second reading. Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Booth?
Yes. Next ordinance for introduction, ordinance number 13-2025, an ordinance of the Township of Pemberton County of Burlington, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing Article 3 entitled Subsection Public Places.
Again, I'm gonna apologize, I spent too much time on the budget and I'm not time reading all these things. Does anybody know?
Can I hit the high notes, Mr. Harper?
Yeah, are we looking for a specific, deal?
No, what happened, during COVID, in order to assist the restaurant trade, the governor allowed for, and the legislature approved on a part-time basis, outside dining on the sidewalks.
Right.
So, but now since COVID, hopefully is no longer a pandemic, they have now still adopted legislation. The town wants to make that permanent. So this ordinance will allow the outside dining on sidewalks, so to speak, permanent, as it was allowed during COVID.
Okay, I mean, we'll still have to come and get permits and stuff like that.
If I could, this is, regarding alcohol establishments that have alcohol. We did, forward this to her, ask if she had any concern or questions about it. And in my review from it, however, I don't see how much of this actually applies to our town.
Right.
Because most of our alcohol establishments are on a sidewalk, and what I can think of is the old ladies.
They already
For
do it.
example, like Ricardo's, they have outdoor dining, but they just don't serve alcohol.
Yeah.
Some had establishments that had an outdoor recreation area for eating, and they served alcohol. Technically, in Pemberton right now, you can't have alcohol outside in public.
Actually, they are. that is
Did anybody tell
incorrect,
Barry Boston that?
Councilman. We have quite a few establishments that have established outdoor areas when, and this occurred, and they already did extension permits, years ago, when they started disallowing smoking inside a building. So many of our establishments that had the area literally already did extension premises, so, yeah, like, the pub, Country Lakes, they have a little deck outside, and that was an expansion, they all had to do expansions of premises, if anything was going outside. I'm not sure how this would cover BYOB places, it may if we have a restaurant. Like I said, the only establishment I can think of in our town that actually sits on a sidewalk is the old ladies. It's called, and I think this would affect that, but other than that, we don't,
It really,
our restaurants and stuff like that is all off.
it may not necessarily, I don't know.
So I think that like this is, the state passed things for more like bigger cities, but if something should come to town, this keeps us covered. Right.
Right, they still have to come before,
That's something that all that regular permits.
Right. Ms. Flaherty did mention that maybe we should have a review fee for this, cause I'm not, there are fees for like expansion of premises and such, but if it's denied, maybe we should still have a review fee, and if we want to establish one, put that one in town. And this, I don't think, this isn't an urgent one, but it's something we did send a while ago, but we've had so much going on, I kind of been waiting for a quiet time, and that's not gonna happen, so here it is. You can adopt it as.
You can adopt it as
I guess they can
first
adopt it
reading.
as is, and
First reading, and then you can
if they
still
wanna
amend.
do a quick amendment later to add the review fee,
Sure.
after it gets, this at least would start covering us in case
That's
something
right.
does come up.
somebody else can do this,
Make a motion.
I don't like
that
the,
we-
I don't like the number.
What's the next number on line?
I make a motion that we introduce ordinance number 13-2025 at our next meeting on June 18th, 2025.
I'll second that.
Mr. Bianchini?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Ward?
Yes.
Mr. Harper?
Yes.
Mr. Dillon?
Yes.
Next item. Approval by council required for payment of vouchers on bill list dated 5/29/25. Or is all your opinion?
Candace, do you have a copy of the bill?
None.
front of me.
There's a charge on here for Madden and Madden. 3 hits. Anybody know what that's about?
Madden and Madden, I don't know about the particular bill, but I know that they're involved in representing through various lawsuits.
They don't go, the lawsuits do not go through me, especially if there are things.
I just thought maybe that, most of the bills, you were aware of this bill.
I was made aware of it after it was entered.
Well, usually, I mean, when other ones come on the bill list, it's usually, I'll read, for example, some of yours, Jerry, rate versus CPA, Tobin versus Pemberton. There's nothing here but a claim number, and again, it's not an attorney that we know is it being on the approved list.
I only know that the Madden firm is doing some work for the town through their insurance companies, but I don't know what in particular.
Through which insurance company?
Jim? Yeah.
Oh, they're working for Jim?
Yes,
Okay.
but I don't know, no, I don't know if that's, I don't know anything about this.
Well, and that's the thing, without this information, and in my mind, I mean, I would, would you like to?
What's that?
Would you like to
Like to do what?
make a motion? I don't know, take away your time.
I make a motion, we don't pay it till we find out who it's for, what's it for, why we're paying.
I do know who it's for my case,
For what?
which is why it did not go through me.
I can't hear you.
It's for my case, which is why it did not go through me.
But if they're representing the township on the result of that litigation, why wouldn't it be paid unless it's a retainer?
It should have went through Summit Risk, well,
Yeah.
it came on an invoice for Summit Risk. My AP clerk asked administration who should be paid, should it be Summit Risk or Madden Madden, it was told Madden Madden.
Why would this be different?
But why wouldn't it be paid as part of, I don't know, why wouldn't it be paid by our insurance company, the Madden Madden?
We have a co-insurance of up to 20,000.
Okay. Normally, what's happening in most, I don't know, what's happened in most of the cases, generally speaking, the insurance companies would advance that money and then get it back to the town later on.
You know, we paid up to 20,000 in the previous one as well for
Oh, yeah.
co-insurance
I
and
know
they
you'd be
stopped it.
responsible.
Yeah, so we paid that up front.
Alright. So you have a $20,000 deductible, and this is part of it.
So Madden's representing.
No, Madden is representing the township. Oh, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. There's two defendants in that case, it's the township, and Madden. I don't know which one.
I think if we get more information, it doesn't get paid. Because there's no reason, in my opinion, that we should be paying any legal expenses for somebody that created the mess. And I don't know what you guys think about it, but again, we're taking advantage of our audience with nonsense. And I want more information before I make a decision.
Janie, I have to agree with you on that. Everything else we have here on the bill list shows exactly, I mean, of all the entries on the bill list for Mr. Dasty here, under the item description, it specifies exactly what that bill is paying for, and all this just says is claim number.
I mean, was there a contract? I don't think anything was brought to our attention. So I wanna find out who we're representing. And if it's, I don't think the township should have to pay for his legal fees, because every problem that he has, he created. And I'm gonna feel very strong on this. So I make the motion that we don't pay Madden until we get all the paperwork, and who it's for and what it's for.
Do you have any more questions over this?
Yeah, before we make a motion, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I got a couple. What do you got?
No, I'm not.
Now, this one here is petty, but I'm just gonna give you an example of how we waste money. Clean community. Now, I imagine there's a grant here, but why would you buy clear 60-gallon trash can liners for $2,900 at Granger. If you could go to Harbor Freight, you can go anywhere and buy trash bags, 60 gallons, but I think unless they got a tractor trailer load on them for $2,900, maybe it is a bargain. But I mean, it jumped right out, you know, and I'm for clean community, and I'm sure it's a grant, but why would you waste money spending $2,900 when you could probably have done it for $600 and had more money in your brain for things that you really need? I guess nobody's got an answer to that, right? Again, wasteful spending. Every 2 weeks. That's all I got.
Josh,
No,
So make a motion to approve the bill list with the exception of Madden and Madden 25-01292.
I'll second that. Yes.
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 Just briefly, thank you. I spoke last time about that we are negotiating with KF Navy and trying to address the redevelopers agreement that was adopted 3 or 4 years ago. And we're getting there. It's not finalized yet. We hope to have more good news for you about that at our next meeting. You may know by now, but just for the record, the township is being sued by one of its employees, the township mayor. That came through about a week and a half ago. So that's a new one that will go to our insurance companies. Some issues that, we're gonna get this resolved, but some issues have come up about when the township, about 5 years ago, bought the new Lisbon Water Company from the county. There's some I's that still need to be dotted and T's crossed or whatever, so we're gonna address the missing documents that we should have had 5 years ago. We're gonna get that straightened out. New Horizons is the name of the company that's contracted to buy from us the Brownsville Shopping Center. I don't know, I heard today there's a rumor that the suit has been instituted by one of the tenants. I don't know if it's true or not, but I suspect that might slow down closing, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think that the tenants are still there.
Was there a scheduled closing date?
They wanted to close around the 15th, but they're not gonna close if the tenants are still there. And the last thing is, our township clerk has been a great assistant. We're trying to get together a TNR ordinance that I think that we'll be trying to get together for the town next meeting or so. So that's on the horizon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, appreciate the updates. Next up, Mayor's Indoor Business Administrator's Report.
All right, I have a couple things. There was a forest fire over in Ocean County recently. I don't know if you remember it or not. Jerry, you probably did, it was over your neighborhood. We received a letter from the state assembly and senators for the 9th district. And it's addressed Pemberton Township Engine 1826. Dear members of Pemberton Township Engine 1826, on behalf of the residents of Ocean County in the 9th Legislative District, we extend our deepest gratitude and sincere appreciation for your extraordinary service and heroic efforts during the recent Jones Road wildfire. Your courage, professionalism, and swift response in the face of a rapidly escalating and dangerous situation were nothing short of remarkable. The Jones Road wildfire was the second largest wildfire in the last 20 years. Thank you for your tireless dedication and teamwork. Lives were protected, homes were saved, and potentially devastating disaster was brought under control. We recognize the risks you willingly accept each time you answer a call to duty,
And during the Jones Road wildfire, your commitment to the safety of our communities was on full display. Your actions exemplified the very best of public service and remind us of the strength and resilience that define New Jersey's first responders. Please know that your efforts have not gone unnoticed. We, along with grateful citizens of Ocean County, commend you in your bravery and thank you for your unwavering safe service. And I'm probably gonna butcher these names, so forgive me. It's signed by Brian E. Rump, Assemblyman 9th District, Gregory E. Meyer, Assemblyman, and you're definitely gonna help me on this one. Senator 9th District, Carmen A. Amato. Oh, I got close. So they did send a letter, it's very nice. They also sent a really nice proclamation, it was signed, it's in color, it's pretty high class. And it basically says the same thing the letter said. I can't say enough good things about all of our first responders in town. Our fire department is a volunteer fire department. They do an incredible job. I just wish we had more. Nobody volunteers anymore. The other things I wanted to bring up are kind of local, not necessarily, well, some of them are township. We had Clean Communities last week. I was out for an hour or so with Clean Communities. It was nasty weather, so not a whole lot of people participated, but it really does accomplish a lot by, going out there and walking around the streets and picking up the garbage, and some of the other things that are thrown out on the streets. Want to remind everyone, I believe it's a Saturday, if the weather holds up, there's gonna be the fishing derby at the lakes for our kids. And another one, there was a gentleman, we talked about this once before, a year or two ago. There was a gentleman and his wife that lived in town, Mr. and Mrs. Gallagher. And they used to do antiquing and stuff like that. And Mr. Gallagher was a Korean War veteran, I believe. Their heart was in Pemberton Township, and they made out really good with the antiquing. And when they passed away, they wanted a scholarship set up in their name at the high school. So they they had the scholarship set up through a legal firm, and they appointed 3 people as the administrator, trustees, whatever you want to call it, for the fund. One of them is the mayor of the town, the current mayor. One of them is the pastor for the Methodist church that's catty corner away from the Little Red Schoolhouse. And then the other one is the current high school principal. The Gowers donated $3.2 million for a scholarship for our high school kids. So when we set up this scholarship, we set it up so that the principal of 3.2 is always there, and we only give out scholarships with the interest. And we try to roll a little bit of the interest back into the principal so that eventually it'll grow more than 3.2 million. This year, I was very surprised to find out that we were gonna be able to give out $120,000 to our kids. They're receiving that tonight, I believe, at the high school. We had 34 kids do essays and apply for the scholarships. I read through some of these. These kids are phenomenal. Intelligent, grounded, well thought out essays. We sit there reading these things, and we didn't know how we were gonna figure out what 12 were gonna get the essays. This town has some extremely bright kids, some good talent come out of our schools. You always hear some of the horror stories, and I'm telling you, these schools educate our kids and do a really, really good job. I was impressed with what I read, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you for those comments. All right, let's go left to right, Josh.
Just want to thank everybody for sticking in tonight. Had a really good couple weeks. Glad it looks like we're moving the budget forward, so that's great. everybody have a safe and happy, next 2 weeks, and we'll see you on the 18th, and I think we'll be at Pete Matt's, out of time of 8:30, so that's a good thing.
Okay, just want to touch on two things. First of all, I know a lot of the employees who listen, they're not here in attendance tonight, but I want them to know that one thing that was paramount was to get you guys a work shift for the hot summer days that you want. And we were up here kicking it around, just trying to make it what we thought would be a little bit more accessible. That after speaking to a couple department heads, it just doesn't work for every office. So if it's not going to work across the board, we can't do it. But one thing that was important to me was to get a work schedule that you guys wanted. So I'm glad that we were able to pass that for you. And second of all, to the firefighters, where the mayor just read that proclamation for them. As a member of council and as a resident of Pemberton, I want to tell you that not only do you guys make our fire department look good, you make the residents and the town of Pemberton look even better. And for that, I thank you very much. And I only hope that you all got down there, you did your jobs, and you all got home safely. 0 injuries. And thank you so much for your service.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank Mr. Bean Keeney and everyone that was involved in having this Memorial Day parade that we just had the other day. The participants, the audience, everybody, it was a great turnout. And the committee did a great job. You know, I can only see bigger and better parades coming along. It was just a wonderful thing to be a part of. I'll tell you. Thank you, Mr. Bean Keeney. Pass the word on to everybody else that participated. There were many participants and stuff. It takes a lot of people to pull something like that off, and you did a great job. And you know, hopefully you residents come out to these events like the Memorial Day Parade, the upcoming Winter Carnival. You know, as the mayor mentioned about the kids fishing derby this coming Saturday. Hopefully you get your kids out there and participate in that. It's a lot of fun for them. We thank everybody for coming out here. As Councilman Ward said, we've been doing a little work on the budget. We still have a little more to do. We're looking at your best interest. That's all we can say. Thanks again. Have a wonderful night.
I want to make a comment that I am 100% behind Public Works employees and all the employees in this building. One of the problems we have, Rose stated that she's understaffed in her department, and if she had more people, her department could do a lot better. Candace's remarks were she's short handed in her department. And we have to get these departments up and running so that they can do a better job for us. I don't even know how they do it with the staff that they have. But when you get these departments up with the right people, Amy needs people, they need support for this town to run. And the Fridays off thing, I just wanna split it where you have people here. You can't just close the building down. It's gotta be covered. And I just wanted to make sure that I am not against the employees, I'm just against the decisions that were made. Mr. Ward and myself were outvoted 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. And I mean, it's a good program, but I just think it needs tweaked. So this building can operate on a Friday. You know, I heard a comment, you know, people have little kids, so's the town. You know, there's people that probably get a Friday off to come in here and do business and they can't do it. I mean, everybody's life is the same. Everybody has kids, everybody has to look for babysitters, you know, but we have to take care of our taxpayers, okay? Other than that, I agreed with the job that Matt did with the parade, it was very good. I'm gonna be out of commission for a couple weeks, no applause or nothing. I'll be doing it from Zoom, but my heart is gonna be on the taxpayers in Pemberton Township. I look like I'm a mean old man, but I got a big heart and I love the town and I just want things done right. And apparently we lost our way with that. Everybody have a great week and I'll see you when I get back. Thank you.
All right. me start off by thanking, all of the department heads that came to the meeting Monday and tonight. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, Candace. Thanks for all your work on the budget. And we got it kind of late, but we've really been, between working with Candace and the other department heads and the council members here, working diligently. I made a comment Monday night about no tax increase, as the budget stands right now. That is what it is. There is no tax increase. Will that change? Probably not, but I'm not gonna promise that until we finally adopt it. But as of right now, there's no tax increase, which was our goal. We still want to trim some spending, as you can hear with the questions that Mr. Harper, and Mr. Dewey asked. But, all the decisions we're making, budget related, or any decisions we make, period, it's all in the best interest of the town. So thank you to your departments and all of your employees that work every day, just busting their asses out there. We appreciate it, and residents appreciate it. To our fire department, what can be said about them? The number of calls they respond to this year, it's unbelievable. I think, Harry, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the most ever up to this point here.
Yeah, I believe we're over 1,000 calls already in this year, it definitely exceeded last year according to the chief.
So they're doing a remarkable job, and not only for us, you heard by the proclamation, that they've done it elsewhere. And they shine wherever they go, so I wanna thank them all for that. With regards to the parade, it wasn't my parade, I was just part of a great team that put it together and made it successful. So I wanna thank all the members of the Veterans Advisory Committee, all of our veterans organizations, all of our local businesses who came through like you wouldn't believe with donations. It's just been phenomenal. And I also want to thank, I don't know if she's watching, Georgina Danley. She had given us her son for a couple of days. Her son Lucas and his friend needed some community service hours for the National Honor Society. So they were able to get about 8 of those hours with us, supporting us on the parade. So, and these kids were great. I mean, they were all over it. So I really want to thank them for that. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. But anybody that participated, helped, stood on the side of the road, took pictures, thank you. It was some community event, and we just hope we can build on it from there. That's all I got. Thank you all for showing up tonight. Thank you for all your support.
Next question, bud?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's about the whole, you guys working 10 hours on, for 4 days and taking off on, Friday. Let the guys do cover. Question, he's right that, we kinda need you guys here on Friday, so could you guys just work 9 hours during the week and then just work a half day on Friday? I mean, you make the same amount of hours that way rather than you guys shut down entirely on Friday. I mean, I have off only on Sundays and Fridays, and I gotta get all my stuff done with you guys, because I work all day. I work from when the sun comes up until my boss says you can go home, so that could be from 3 to like 8 o'clock for all I know. And with only having Fridays off and then you guys are all shut down, I'm like, what am I doing with my day? I mean, I gotta put a scramble around for that, so wouldn't that be the same solution?
Well, so we've already discussed this, and we did approve that resolution for the Monday through Thursday work week. It's part of it is it's part of a union negotiation. So it's not a decision we make unilaterally up here. It's that we're presented with it from the discussion or made with the Labor Relations Board. So as of right now, those are the hours. And if there's something we need to change later, you bring it up to administration, bring it up here during public comments to get it on record, and we can look at it again next year when it's brought up again.
Okay, so that way a whole year to bring up this exact same comment.
It's just for the summer though.
It's just for the summer, it's not year round.
It's just for the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so for the summer.
Yeah, just for the
Oh,
summer.
if that wasn't clear, I apologize. Yeah,
No,
there's
it's
just,
just
it's
for
like
the
summer
summer.
hours. That's
Oh,
all it
okay,
is.
okay, I thought it was a whole
Yeah,
year thing.
No.
But still, you have to admit, if you guys wanna do this IKEA hours, I almost worked at an IKEA once, they did the exact same thing. But if you guys wanna take that Friday, at least take a half day by working an extra hour from Monday to Thursday, so the exact same hours, but on Friday, they have to leave a little earlier. I mean, that's like I said, some of us who are off on Fridays, we can just come here, get it done, and be done. But you know, we're on the same page in this situation. We'll see the work out a little better.
I think we're too far down the road now to make that change for this summer, or we can readdress it next year.
There's other towns that do it, so we would be the other.
Motion to adjourn?